Thank you for joining us. Make sure to like us, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click the bell for our notifications of our new material. Today we have a fabulous show. I am beyond thrilled to introduce two very special friends of mine, Orlando Haddad and Patricia King Haddad, the heart of soul of music. And the two of them have been highlighting the stage for over 40 years, blending the rich roots of Brazilian American music into something truly magical. From small, intimate gigs to huge performances, I have joined them as a dancer for many years and enjoy very much our friendship in our professional life. Their connection and chemistry is undeniable. Every note they play comes straight from the heart, reflecting their lifelong dedication to their craft and each other. What's really amazing is how they evolve over the years, creating a folk, beautiful Brazilian, jazzy, samba, bossa nova, blues, and everything else that really touches our heart. Tonight, you are in for a real treat as they performing a few of their original songs, and we'll talk about their journey. Trust me, once you hear them, you will feel the poetry in every melody. I'm so excited for you to experience this incredible artistry and warmth that Minas Band brings to this world. So, welcome, my dear friends, Orlando and Patricia.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yoo-hoo! This is fun. I enjoy doing this. For so many years we've been talking about your music, about your art, about friendship in general. And
Mhm.
I would like you, if you could, tell us a little bit. How did Minas start? Because I know both of you kind of whoop in love, way before Minas, right?
It might have been my fault.
Really? Well,
Um,
that's okay, Patricia. We'll forgive you because two of you is like, wee.
oh my goodness. Well, I started falling in love with Brazilian music when I was a teenager, living in Pennsylvania, small town,
Wow.
small town. So by the time I got to music school, I was supposed to study opera. And but I really loved Brazilian music, and I heard there was a Brazilian on campus.
Ooh.
I had written this song and I wanted to put Portuguese lyrics to the song. So I went up to Orlando and I said, "Hey, you're Brazilian."
I don't think she had that intention, Orlando. I have a feeling that she really liked you already, you know?
I loved bossa nova. I loved. There was something that really drew me to Brazil, and I guess it's because of my Italian background. I could really relate culture, and of course, the Brazilian music really drew me in. So I had to get a Brazilian to help me write lyrics in Portuguese. So, um,
This
we
is
got
so
together.
awesome. Orlando, what did you do when she approached you? You know?
I thought it was really cool. Well, I came all the way from Brazil to study music composition at North Carolina School of the Arts. And I remember right during the orientation, seeing this girl. She was wearing a poncho. And she was wearing like a Peruvian poncho with the llamas on it. And I thought she was South American, but she was just, it was just cool to wear alpaca, in those days.
Well, we did in those days. I remember we're hippies, right? The
Right,
hippies.
right. So she came to me and said, I wrote this bossa nova, and um, could you write some Portuguese lyrics? So I said, okay, well, let's get together and see. And I happened to have a piano in my room because I was a composition student. So she came over to my room and sat down. I turned the piano on. She started playing, like, play a little bit, Num Dia Azul. So I said, well,
Que
what
linda.
do you have in mind? And she said, well, something tropical, something, having something to do with the beach, and so I came up with Num dia azul, perco o meu olhar, penso na paz que o verão me dá.
Uau!
Aí colou, né?
Uau! Uau, que lindo. É, toca ela, daria para você tocar um dia
Ah,
azul? Do
Dá,
jeito que ficou?
dá para
tá.
tocar.
Então, bora!
Que é? Agora? Ok.
Agora! Agora linda! Agora linda!
No dia azul,
Ai, que linda!
brisa soprando no mar azul, borna ventando na praia descalço, eu ando só. Long before this magic encounter, I had seen in your eyes what was once a faded image has materialized. On my side, this is only built pra você. Faz-se materializar.
Que lindo! Que lindo! Que lindo. Patrícia, e quando ele, when he actually came in with that lyrics for you, what did you think?
I thought it was perfect.
Ah,
When we started singing together, immediately our voices blended. It was like a perfect blend. It didn't take any effort at all. So
wow.
we just hit it off immediately. I was 19.
Wow. Wow. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing that, see, I heard the song, I wanted to speak Portuguese right away.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
interesting because so we made this record before leaving North Carolina, right? So many years passed. We graduated from college, and our daughter Nicole was born, and we decided to move to Brazil. So before we did, we were, the Minas band was gigging all around North Carolina for like at least 5 years, and then we had uh, several musician friends that worked with us, and we played all these festivals, and we played barbecue, you know cookouts for
Southern
people,
barbecue.
Wow.
southern barbecue. And so we decided to move away from North Carolina, and went to Brazil, and we made this record. we made the recording, right? We didn't know it was going to be called Num Dia Azul, but we decided to call it Num Dia Azul. We went to Brazil. We released it in Brazil. We lived there for 2 years. We made a
Wow.
thousand records, and we only brought like 100 with us to the States.
when we returned
Wow.
to the
And
States.
we sold some in Brazil, and then the rest was stored in my mother's house. And then
Wow.
my mother's house caught on fire, and we lost like 500 at least of the records.
Wow. I didn't know this part of the story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
after we left Brazil, we came to Philadelphia. We made new records, and that record was almost forgotten. And all of a sudden, with the internet, we started getting messages from all over the world, people looking for it.
Wow. Foi aí, that's when you realized that there was a market for that, I guess.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
we went and Googled Nunji Azul, and we found one original Nunji Azul for sale in like Australia for $175.
What?
Yeah. We said, wait a second, we need to put this record out. So in 2016, we made a new edition of it, and that's
Wow.
old. And when you go to the streaming platforms like Apple and Spotify, Nunji Azul is like our most popular record.
Wow, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I have your album in my wall in my studio.
Well,
I'm so proud of you guys. I mean, it's beautiful. And you have played so in so many places in the US. I mean, you guys live in Philadelphia like we do in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania. And what I most like in the 90s was the fact that we could go out any night and find you playing everywhere. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
remember that? We used to
Silicon
play
Valley.
yeah.
everywhere.
We were breathing music. We were.
Oh, I love that. That was
We
amazing.
still are. I mean, we've been too busy lately
I know, and it's great though. It's great.
Yes.
It's great that after so many years, how many years has been?
in Philadelphia. 40,
Yeah.
right?
40 years. Yes.
Wow. And Minas, it's coming. You do have anniversary coming up.
Yeah, we actually decided to postpone our anniversary to April. It's going to be on April 11th.
Okay, cool. I'll save that date. That's amazing though. Because
Yeah,
then
Yeah.
give us more time to prepare and all that,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing, Orlando and Patricia. This is fun. I mean, because I know your story, because I've been with you guys for so long. But a little bit of your story, I didn't know about this story about the records in Brazil. Wow, that's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about the Grammys and the things that you have done as far as the opera, the orchestra. There's so much. There's so
hmm
Hmm.
much of you.
Yeah. We talk
Yeah,
about the
she goes, yes.
Well, there's
first.
not much to talk about Grammys. We were up to the
You were
nomination.
nominated. Yes.
No, we
Well,
weren't.
that's
We were
no,
up
you're
to
not.
the nomination.
I
We were
thought you
one
were.
step below.
Okay.
Go
Well,
through a
I would nominate you,
you go through a process
Yeah.
and you get indicated to be nominated, which is still wonderful.
which is still
Yeah.
good. Yes. Yes.
Up for the
So,
nomination, but we didn't get it because it's too big for us. We're small. Not that many people know us all
yeah,
over
yeah.
the
You
country.
had to all over the country,
And
out in
it's
So
something.
LA or whatever. So
There's a lot to compete with, right?
yes,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
industry.
So, yes. So, tell us a little bit then about the orchestra piece that you guys, did. That was amazing, by the way.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That
Thank you.
so we made this record called Symphony in Bossa. That was in 2015, and with arrangements by a friend of ours. His name is Bill Zakagany. He was a saxophone player and professor at the University of the Arts,
And the ranger. Yes.
and an awesome arranger. And I approached him one time going up the elevator, and I said, "Bill, let's do a project together of Brazilian music." He said, maybe." And then one thing led to another, and he said, "What do you have? What kind of ideas do you have?" I said, "Well, we have some originals, and maybe we could do some classics like Corcovado and Manhã de Carnaval and The Girl from Ipanema and Triste." And then we recorded a Patricia's song, "Only the Moon and the Stars." That's one of
Mhm.
my favorites. And then we did one of my guitar pieces called Amazonia. And what
Yeah,
else? The three
yeah.
originals.
Well,
Sinal Verde.
Sinal Verde. The idea was to play Brazilian standards and to mix in our original compositions. But the wonderful thing about the project is the arrangements are so lush, and they're like old style, movie,
Yeah, yeah.
film scores. And it was so beautiful that Bill Cagney wrote these amazing arrangements. So we went and performed it at World Cafe with 60 musicians, and
Wow. I
they were
remember.
almost falling off the stage. There were so many musicians.
Wow. Wow. Well, what an experience, saying what an experience, one of the lifetimes, to be able to perform with that many musicians on the stage. I remember that.
Yeah,
Beautiful. You have that on YouTube, I believe, right?
We
yes,
do. We
Yeah.
also have done it 10 times with different orchestras, like community
Wow.
orchestras. We did with Moravian College and Shippensburg. We did it with the Reading Symphony. We did it with Ocean City Pops. And
Yeah.
we're in talks right now with another orchestra, Philadelphia, to do it
That's
next year.
awesome though.
Café Forte, Café Forte, Café Forte, Morena, Samba Forte.
Nossa, eu lembro dessa música. Nós fizemos. So here I want to speak Portuguese because I remember this song because I was actually in the video. I actually have a
Yeah,
video.
you are in the video.
Wow. How long ago, Orlando?
That was 2000 and no 1996.
No, you're kidding. Has been that
No,
long?
we have a whole
Wow.
video. You can go look. You can even post it at the show with you dancing.
I know, I will do it. I know. I actually have a screenshot that I did of the video.
uh-huh.
That is me going like this with the pink feathers
Yeah,
Yep.
and a big smile. That brings me great memories. And I remember where we recorded that. That was at Brazil's, wasn't it?
on the
Yeah.
second floor.
On
Yeah.
the second floor. Wow. I have great memories of
Yeah,
that time.
yeah,
Fabulous. And so tell us a little bit, because you have how many records do you guys
We
have?
have eight. Eight.
Wow. And it's all
Four-
available on your website.
hmm
Where
Yes,
can we
they're available on
purchase?
our website at minasmusic.com.
Yes, and I was actually checking while we took a little break. I was checking. You have a very nice presence on Spotify too.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
we have all our records.
Yeah, and the Blue Azul is the most played one
Yeah,
for real.
it is.
I was actually taking a look. This is amazing. So, Orlando, we talked about your orchestra, Patricia Orchestra, but now I want to talk about the opera. Patricia, I know. Let's talk a little bit about it. So, La Jara, tell
Yeah,
us a little bit about that, the story behind, and how did you get to this? I mean, I never thought you would do an opera, but hey, good for you.
yeah, it's really interesting because I was doing this thing called the Writer's Way. It's an exercise for artists that you write every day. So you do it as sort of an exercise, a practice. And I went to Sicily, and I came back, and I was on fire because that's my family culture. And I started writing stories about my grandfather when we were young, and it just poured out of me without
Wow.
stopping. And as I started writing the story, I started writing the music pieces because they got inspired, and then the music piece would inspire the story. So it became sort of like a cyclical kind of, creativity. So it turned into an opera, of course. Fatima, your husband, was the
I
first
know, I know, I know.
person.
This is amazing because you not only you wrote the opera, there's a book.
Yes. Let me see if I have it.
Do you have it
Yeah. And
here?
I
I
like
have
it.
it, and it's amazing. How long did it take you to write all that?
Well, it took me about 2 years to write the book, but with
Wow,
editing and everything, it was a number of years because you rewrite over and over and over again.
that's
So it
amazing.
took me a couple years, and I'm still rewriting it because the opera has become a staged version.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, John told me that there's a few venues and places that are asking for the performance of that, right? The staging part of
Yes,
that.
looking at it, so I have been getting
Wow.
ready, but it's a very long process. I remember going to a theater person in Philadelphia, Charlie Gilbert, and he said, Patricia, it'll take at least 10 years to get your new
What?
theater piece performed because it's such a long process, and
Wow. I didn't know that.
writing, the reworking. It's a very, grand scale kind of performance.
Yeah, and I remember you performed that stage performance of the music itself. It's very moving. It's very beautiful. When we came to, I think it was World Cafe, right? I
Hmm.
Yeah.
mean, I went in two places. I went to the church, to the what is it called? That church on Ritterhouse
Trinity
Square.
Church.
Yeah, yes, Trinity.
That's right. I
And
forgot that we did that concert
Yeah.
too.
yeah,
We
that
did
was
it five
awesome. That
times.
yeah, it was intimate. It was very intimate. It was
Yeah.
cool, you know. And people got to know about the story with Patricia right so close.
Yes, yes. It's a story that a lot of immigrants can relate to because it's about, being really bound by traditions and what sometimes immigrants have to break away from their old traditions to become, contemporary in America. And, it causes issues in the family and in complications.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, by the way. And so, Orlando, you were talking about business, teaching music business to people. I mean, that transition in itself, right there, it's a class, that you are Brazilian, bossa nova, samba singer, composer, blah, blah, blah. And then you have opera, and all that, and you make all this work performing,
Mhm.
writing, composing, teaching.
Yeah.
So, talk a little bit about that.
Well, we developed some programs for kids as
Yeah.
well as to for college students. I taught at University of the Arts
Wow.
for like 10 years, and I taught Brazilian jazz, a class on
Yeah.
Brazilian jazz, and a class on Brazilian samba percussion. And I also have a master's in arts administration. So I learned a lot about the business of music. So I taught a class at UArts for 4 years about the business of music. And
It's
now,
very important.
oh yeah, learned that just managing our own band, and from the masters that I studied, and then
Yes.
a friend of ours, I know he's a friend of yours also, Gerald Beasley, and I
Oh, yeah.
other course together that we've been teaching through Jazz Philadelphia. It's called.
And dancers that I monitor. I'm the leader for that, and to it's mostly it was created to contribute, to exchange, and to find gigs to each other, and it's growing.
Mhm.
I spoke a little bit before with you because I done this with Brazil Productions many years ago, and I kept that group, from the website, and some people just thought that it would be sad to let it go, even though the company doesn't exist anymore. So I've been monitoring that for a while, and most of them, what they say is the business side of music seem to be the hardest part for everyone.
It
It
is
is.
because artists are very pure people, and the
Yes,
money is always tainted somehow, even though we try
yes.
to keep it as pure as possible.
Yes. Yes, I try to work for some companies, but I am best to working for myself, self-employed. So does John, we being self-employed for so long, and you guys too. So I respect, because you guys being in this business for so long, sustaining really nicely. Even though it's not easy, and you being sustaining, you have done, you created your record and you paid for it.
Yep.
Remember that? I remember that.
Yeah.
We did fundraisers. You just
Fundraisers,
do
and
what you have to do, you know?
it's amazing. It's even La Jara, it's how you do, it's how you do it. That's the way. And I think it's very important to teach how you did it, so
Right.
others can actually achieve that too. Because I see teenagers now that I teach a little bit in high school and stuff, and I see teenagers wanted to be something like, let's say, a teacher, a semester, a designer, and all. The first thing that they get from their parents is, you're not going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they don't go forward with that creativity, with that love, that passion of art, because the block is, you're not going to make enough money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Our
you
parents
know
were afraid for us.
well, yeah. And the thing is, so what would you say to parents nowadays, that the kids want to be artists? What would you say, Patricia?
You have to make your way. You have to find a way to do it. And I think it's important to at least try, because
I agree.
I see people who really wanted to be artists,
Yes.
younger in their life, and they did not follow that path. And later on in life, they are unhappy because,
Right.
there was a piece of them that they never really took care of, that meant something to them. So I think you have to at least try it, even if you're going to fail, or you realize
Yes.
I'm not for this, because it is a very hard profession.
It is, and I know that because I've been in it, and I have tried to work for the other ways, the other corporates, and whatever it is. And you're right, it doesn't really fulfill the heart. I ain't gonna do it. I want to be an artist hard. And that's why I do the opera once a year.
Yeah,
I have to be with hands-on creativity. I have to do it. And
yeah,
that's why I have this video, this YouTube channel, and that's why I have the radio show, connecting artists, to
yeah,
tell the stories, and to impact and empower people to do the same,
yes,
you
Hmm.
absolutely.
know.
And
So
a spiritual thing in a way. I mean,
it is, isn't it?
it's a devotion, it's a practice. It's something that you have to see through. It's a passion. Um,
Resilience,
yes,
resilience throughout all the steps, and never give up. And I have you know that I have emotion management school, and I have two students, and one of them used to work for a big corporation in Philadelphia, huge, used to make really six figures, and he quit a few years ago, and now he works, doing music in Philadelphia, and it's fantastic, promotes events in what's it called, Fishtown and all that, you
mhm,
Hmm.
know, and works with World Town and all the people there. I mean, why? Because it fulfills the heart. It's a
yes,
passion for music, and it doesn't matter how much money we make. We just want to do what we do. You
right.
know, it would be great for us to make more, right? It would be awesome. Right, Patricia? It would be great. It would
Yeah,
make things really much easier, wouldn't it?
it would. It would be nice to have a little ease. I wish artists had more value. You know,
Yes,
musicians, could make more of a living, that you were paid to sell your music. That's
yes.
on with all the Spotify and streaming now. But it's so it makes it very hard.
Very, yes. One of I have made a decision this year about that. Really figure out a way to help artists to be seen more, to get endorsements, to get companies to contribute in this pile of work. The value is there. It's just having the money to come in to this way, to the artistic, arena. Make sure that the artists are being seen, being paid, that gigs are not for free, right? That People are paying to see the artists and supporting. Just keep telling, because you have a very good list, I think, because I'm part of your list. You have a list of friends that supports you, that have been around you. And we go to the museum, for example. The last gig you did, the Friday at the museum, when was that? Like about 2 months ago?
Was on the 12th of July.
Of July. I
Yeah.
was there. Amazing. And I saw people that have been following you for 30 years or more.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
it's really
Philadelphia
beautiful.
is great to us.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Philadelphia, we
Philadelphia has been
just
wonderful.
really we landed in the right place. We moved from Rio de Janeiro back to the States, and we had a 3-year-old and decided that we didn't want to go to New York City.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So Patricia had a brother and a sister in the Delaware Valley, and they said, "Why don't you come to Philly and try it?" And we did. And
Wow. So Nicole was only 3?
Nicole was 3.
Wow. Wow. Was she born here or there?
She was born in North Carolina.
I got it. And
And
then you
then
moved to
we moved
Brazil.
to Brazil. She was 1 year old. We lived there 2 years. So when she was 3, we moved back.
Wow. That's amazing.
Arrived in Philadelphia and we had so little. We had a baby, we had to
Uh-huh.
make a living, we had a card table for a dinner table, and we had a mattress on
Wow.
the floor. And I would call all the clubs in Philadelphia and say, "Hello, we're a Brazilian group. We just arrived from Brazil," call after call.
Wow.
That's how we started. I mean, it was,
Wow. Patricia, I didn't know this cute little pearl, of your stories. This is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. And I remember Nicole and Jordan Little at the gigs, and at times, so I would enter, at certain particular times that you would tell me to dance. But when in the break, I would play with them and they would be underneath this table, at the venue. And I would be playing with them underneath the table until the time that I had to go on the stage.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Yes.
All right. Actually, I spoke with Jordan one time. He says, I remember that. That was fun time.
Yes.
You would take them with you to the gigs.
Yes.
Sometimes we
Yes.
had to, right?
Sometimes we had
Yeah.
a babysitter and we would do a big carnival. And I would see Nicole out in the crowd dancing on somebody's shoulders, like a 3 or 4 year old, just bopping up and down, and I'm singing on stage. Oh, there she
Wow.
is.
Wow. Well, that's amazing, though. That's part of the story that is so candid, it's so beautiful. Orlando, the website for your band is
Minasmusic.com.
okay. And
MIN
what is
music.
next for you? I mean, so people can follow, support you. Tell us, how can we help you? How
Yeah.
can we
Well,
help
follow
you?
us on Instagram or Facebook. Minas Brazilian Music is our name.
Your, I know
Minas
what it is.
Brazilian.
It's just I needed to ask you to say, Patricia. The interesting part is I remember when we did gigs for kids. You still do that?
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We have reached over 1 million kids
Wow.
with our
How
program called
incredible.
Brazilian Adventure.
Wow. Wow. And so where are those programs? Like in schools?
Public school, private schools, art centers,
We
libraries.
did a huge one at the Kimmel Center last
Ah,
year. It was, full of 1,000 kids,
It was
listening to the
amazing.
percussion.
And it's all about the culture of Brazil, and
yes.
teach them that we don't speak Spanish, we speak Portuguese, and Brazil has a different culture.
Uh-huh.
You know,
It's amazing. I was speaking about that a few days ago. Someone said, "Oh, you speak Spanish in Brazil," and I said, "No, we're the only country that don't speak Spanish in South America." They go, "What?" So most people don't know that we Brazilians don't speak Spanish. We
yeah,
speak
culture is
Portuguese.
different. Yeah,
Yes, and most people and our culture is not Spanish. It's not the same. You
yeah,
know, and most people call us Latinos. And we have a completely different culture, experience, music, and all influences perhaps, but not exactly the same. You
Yeah.
know, wouldn't you say that?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, then that's what we bring to the schools. We introduce
Yeah.
Brazil, we tell them about the cities in Brazil. And a lot of kids still think that Brazil, all there is jungle, right?
Yeah, the Indians, right? Woo!
We show them pictures of Brasilia and São Paulo, and,
Uh-huh.
you
That's
know.
amazing. So, Orlando, a curiosity. So, the instruments of Brazil, tell me the particularities of them because we have some instruments that I haven't seen in another culture.
Hmm. Well, a lot of them came from Africa, but they were developed in Brazil. Like the berimbau is a
Yes.
beautiful instrument that it has African origin. The cuica, right?
I was going to ask the cuica.
The
So,
cuica.
how was the cuica, created? Where was it? I don't know, actually.
I guess it was in Africa, and they brought it,
Uh-huh.
brought it to Brazil and invented it in Brazil, reinvented it in Brazil.
Yeah, yeah, it's I see there's a lot of interest of Brazilian instruments right now. Um I am actually working with Contemporânea in Brazil,
Hmm.
and there's so much interest in timbal, repinique, surdo and all that. You
Yeah,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there's a big.
samba all over the world.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, would you mind playing like, you can choose play us another song. It would be awesome
Sure.
to hear you again.
Uh-huh.
Some people haven't has just joined us for the second part of the show. Would you mind?
Sure.
What are you playing for us?
Another day.
Oh, so Orlando said we should play Bossa Nova Day. Uh,
Adoro, adoro.
okay. So I grew up, being an American who fell in love with Brazilian music. And I heard it on the radio when I was 13, 14 years old. And I fell in love with Brazil, as I said. And so, I had this image of this beautiful jungle land, and the music was so rich and romantic. So I fell in love with it. And so I wrote a song years later called Bossa Nova Day. And it's about riding around in your car and listening to Bossa Nova in the summertime, which we did. And so
Wow.
the song talks about that, and it talks about listening to Bossa Nova and you're in love.
Oh, let's do it.
A dream on a summer day, finally I show love so sweet and near. Driving along, I feel the song on this bossa nova day. Down in my heart, love is here to stay. Feels so right, my head is like my gut seems to glide like a melody that takes me for a ride. The rhythm speaks, my spirit sings, my heart soars high above. Somehow I know this moment is about love. For now, all my cares are gone. All I want to sing is this bossa nova song about your smile, about your laughing on the above, about a dream come true, about love. Love and bossa nova in the air, just the music setting for this love affair. Love and this bossa nova mood, lay the rhythm of my heart play too. You are the melody, the sun, the stars, the moon. Oh, what a day! What a love! What a groove!
So many memories right now. This is so beautiful. So beautiful. What a best, best time with you on a Friday night. You're
Yes.
in your home, me and mine, my studio. This is fun. Thank you for making the time for this, being such a great friend, to me and John. And I hope that this is going to go to many years, to many people, so they can pour in and support Mina's band. Support your endeavors, support your opera, your music, your CD, your new. I mean, there's a lot of money out there. Okay, I know there's a lot. I know a lot of people, and I'm just inviting them all to support you, to support your endeavors, your music. Your teaching, Orlando, your opera. Patricia, there's so many ways of doing this. We just have to call people. Someone one time when I was a kid, I really had a very humble beginning. Back then, like you, Patricia, I had nothing. I was just like, dang. And this very rich person said, if you don't ask, people won't know.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right.
And so I said to her, so let me think what. And then she said to me, what do you want? I said, I want a family. Well, she says, I will adopt you. Well, that didn't go well with my mother
Yeah.
because that was her name was Miss Italia. It was our neighbor.
Ah,
And, obviously my mom said no, but she became a very good and very important supporter for my mother. She
oh,
would help her because we were living on the streets,
mm,
and she took us in, and we live right in front of my daycare center, and she was incredible to me. So
oh,
I say that if we don't ask, we don't know. People are available to help. So I hope this show goes to many years. All the abundance in this world can come your way, so we can help your journey. Okay.
thank you,
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Todd.
much. Thank you so much for making the time for this show.
Thank you.
And I ask everyone to please like my channel. Make sure you kick the little bell there so you can hear the new materials. And please follow Orlando and Patricia and the Minas Band. I'll put your YouTube here, Orlando and Patricia.
Hmm.
And I hope we can do this another time.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
Flashman. Love you.
I
As
love you too.
always,
Thank you
always.
so much. May a lot of abundance come our way
Thank you for
Sounds
for
everybody.
great.
everyone. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night. Boa
Ciao.
noite.